Hi everyone and welcome back to Built by Emma episode 2. So today I'm going to be talking about feeling stuck and not in a sense where nothing's happening, feeling mentally stuck. And I think sometimes we all feel like we're stuck because we don't know what steps we need to take to move. So for example, having something you want to do, something you want to start, a decision you've got to make, but somehow you just can't move forward with that. And I think that's because of the constant thoughts it's replaying in your head, and you're making plans and telling yourself you're going to start next week when actually you're in the same place a month later. And I think there's a version of ourselves that knows what the answer is. We're just not ready to take them steps yet. So if I'm honest, I feel like I've a lot of my life been in that cycle, and I thought I needed more information on that. I think I needed a better plan, confidence, experience, and I think I convinced myself there was always one more step I needed to take before I could begin. And I think on the surface, that's quite a sensible idea because preparation is key. But I wonder, in doing this, is that easier and better than facing the actual truth? And if I look back on things in my life that I've delayed, I don't think it was not having enough information that was the problem. I think fear was, and that is hard to admit. And I think fear doesn't always look like panic and anxiety and drama. I think it can be disguised as productivity, and I think that turns into avoidance. And avoidance doesn't always feel or look like fear because it is productive. And you could look at that with endless planning, endless research. You've got one more video to watch, one more article to read, one more list to do, one more thing to clean. And you're telling yourself you'll start when it's done. And because you feel like you're being productive, you feel like you're making progress when actually the actual goal that you wanted to take, you know, when you're nowhere further forward. And you go round and round in this vicious cycle. And it's happened to me with this platform. Like, the truth is, like I said in my last video, I've wanted to try and do this for ages, but I just had constant doubts running in my mind. But the thing that got me moving was actually starting. And that's what gave me clarity. And I think we all get trapped, which I think is really common in your 20s, because everyone talks about finding a path, figuring out your career, knowing where you're heading. And there's so much pressure. You feel so judged. And you're supposed to have this 5, 10 year plan. And I don't even know what I'm having for dinner. Because But it's because we're so fearful of making a decision, we just find it easier not to make the decision at all. And we wait, we hesitate, and weeks turn into months, and months turn into years. And it's just avoidance. And we think it's overthinking, but really it's the fear of what happens after you make the decision. And the most confident people I know don't necessarily actually have a plan or know which direction they're heading in. They're so confident because they've made their mistakes, they've learned from the mistakes, and they've done trial and error, and they've fixed what they couldn't do. And momentum from that is key. So maybe ask yourself, are you genuinely confused, or are you afraid? Because maybe the answer to all this is sending one email, sending an application, having that conversation, making that recording, and making that first step. Maybe the solution isn't overthinking for another month. And I think in reality, maybe we're not stuck. Maybe we just are not ready to lose who we are, or maybe it's somewhere in between. And I think the hardest part of evolving into someone new is letting go to who you used to be or to who you are, and letting go of frequent and common and familiar routines, patterns, and that's okay. And that's something I've been telling myself right now, like, that's okay to let go. So I'm gonna leave this here, and hopefully everything that I've been saying there and everything that you've been listening to, you've needed to hear. And thank you so much for listening if you've got this far. So that's the end of episode 2 of Built by Emma.